Hello everyone, Jose Rodriguez here. It is May the 12th, Friday evening. We just got back about an hour ago from visiting my second daughter, the middle daughter, Janice. She is a graphic artist and works for a company that does a lot of custom printing. And on the way back, we dropped off something for my son, Jeremy, at Nathan's house. And we were told that we got to come over Sunday for Mother's Day. Big brunch in the morning and a big dinner at night. Should be fun. At least I get to spend time with the family, my son, my daughter, son-in-law, and of course Nathan, my favorite little boy. All right, I have been spending last night and bit of this evening printing some photos that were submitted by viewers, and we're going to go ahead and go through them. I printed some of them on the P800 on matte paper using Precision Colors inks, and some in the Pro One using OEM inks. I got a couple of images here from John Pensasulo, Pendasulo, and simply they are two TIFFs that he sent to me, one of a waterfall and one of a bunch of flamingos, probably in Florida somewhere. So here is the unedited image that he sent. I printed it directly to the Pro One using Pro Luster paper and the OEM Pro Luster profile. As you can see, it's a very high dynamic range image. The scene contained direct sunlight hitting trees, direct sunlight hitting those rocks. The waterfall, which is the center of interest, unfortunately is hidden in a shadowed area. So I thought I would try to improve on this. So the first thing I did was to load the image into the raw editor for Photoshop. And then I did a white point isolation, black point isolation, and then loaded it onto Photoshop after I got done doing so. And then I proceeded to use the dodging and burning tool, doing some highlight burning, middle tones, and darks, either dodging and burning, and this is what I came up with. Then we went over to the Q image interface. Simply I added some output sharpening and I printed it. I did not do a heck of a lot of editing, just something to sort of enhance the image, which is already pretty great to begin with. As you can see, I have darkened the very bright rocks here and the foreground, and I did a contrast enhancement of the waterfall by itself. I also darkened the background foliage a little bit more just to kind of bring the eye toward the center of the image, which is of course the small waterfall. So that, to me, that enhances and brings my eye, at least my eye, toward the point where I should be paying attention, and not so much this area here, which is so bright that it just attracts my eye to it, and I neglect to look at the actual waterfall. All right, the next image was that of some flamingos. It appears to be probably down in Florida somewhere. He can correct me if I am wrong. And this is the original. Again, high dynamic range. I mean, this thing is brightly lit areas, just blazing sun, and then very dark areas in shadow. And so I had to do something to try to enhance that situation a bit. So I did the same application that I do in Lightroom. I did the white point, dark point by lowering the highlights all the way down, shadows all the way up, and then setting my white and black points, and proceeded to do a little burning in here and there and dodging. And then I increased the vibrance just a little bit, just to bring out the color of the flamingos out a little bit more. It's not a huge change, but one that actually brings the shadow detail out more, so that you can see areas that were sort of blocked up a little bit in the shadows, as they are here. So here you can see a little bit more detail. There's not so much lost in these very dark areas. And then the highlights, I brought them down selectively as well. And so I thought that was a fairly good improvement on a pretty nice image. Again, a nice big fat TIFF file. So thank you, John, for submitting these. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Now let's move on to another gentleman. Let's see what we have here. Mark Ziuba, D-Z-I-U-B-A. I assume that the D is silent. And we printed these on Epson enhanced matte paper on the P800. It's a very nice picture of a dilapidated truck. And it is very, very nicely detailed. Beautiful contrast. All I did here is to use advanced black and white for it. And I just added some output sharpening. I did a white point, black point, set up in QImage. I did all of the editing in QImage for this particular set of, I believe it was 4 images. I did not print one of them. I printed only 4 of the 5. And this is very nice, I have to say. Nice. I always like this kind of stuff where you go find yourself an old forgotten, pickup truck or some old car. I love going to a junkyard and just doing some art shooting at a junkyard. So this person, Mark, has been all over the place. This is in Beijing, I believe he said. And again, all I did was set up the exposure so that I had a maximum under 0.5% from maximum and over 0.5% from the darkest dark. And so I was able to preserve all of these tones here. There's detail in the shadows. The black areas that correspond to 0.5% are very deep. Everything is nice and sharp. And I just love it. It came out very nice, very well balanced. Here's a black and white conversion. I know he told me what this was, but at this point I should have written it down and I forgot. But again, a very nice job. Obviously he did a darkening of the sky. There's a little bit of a edge here effect. Maybe the selection wasn't quite choked in enough so that there wouldn't be a little bit of a kind of a halo edge on it. But still, overall, it's very nice, sharp. I love the little rusty areas where the rain, as it hits the rivets of this metal covering, has begun to rust as the water travels down this sloping surface. Very nice looking building. All right, and again, this is again somewhere in the Orient, and as I said, he's been all over the place. Must be quite a traveler, and this turned out again also very nicely on the P800. What I did was I set up 17 by 24 and I subdivided it into 4 equal spaces equaling 8 by 10, and I just dropped the images in and they were fitted as well as they could be and ended up with really very good way to conserve paper when you're printing on roll. Now, I went over to my favorite free image site and I found a gentleman. His name is Robert Linder, Linder. And I did these on the Pro 1 with Pro Luster. Lots of really nice photographs. This looks like a motorcycle engine. Again, a nice, very graphic type portrait of this engine cylinder and the exhaust pipes. Very nice. That actually is not a monochrome. It is an RGB file that is just basically monochromatic because of the material being just metal. Again, these are all from the same person. There's a nice beach. Quite nice. a again a color photograph. You can see color behind here somewhere, but the whole shot appears to be totally monochromatic, but it is not. It has little tinges of color here and there. Um, Appears to be some very large leaves, some kind of ornamental plant, and the design is very nice. Nice composition, beautiful colors, very nicely reproduced by the Pro One. I love this. Beautiful big city, high-rise building, office building possibly, just covered with panes of glass, and then you can see this older building across from it being reflected off of it. And wonder what flag that is. Okay, so here is some fall foliage shots. Unfortunately, this is beautiful, but he focused right here, and all of these are out of focus. I would have liked to have seen these just tack sharp, and he could have achieved that, but again, I would not be able to make a large print out of this because only the trunk of the tree is in focus. But the colors are amazing, and the Pro One just breezes right through this type of image. It's a field of poppies, and this is actually pretty cool. I wonder if they are growing them for you know what, but it seems that it might be a wild field of poppies, possibly. I'm not sure. Again, but this will make a nice large print because it's just kind of graphic oriented type image. I wish the distribution of the poppies was more even, but maybe a slight change in position could have achieved a better shot. But all in all, it's not bad. I like it. I got this right up my street as well. So, but it's very sharp, nicely exposed. The sky is nice and blue, and again, reproduced beautifully by the Pro One. Wow. I wonder what this was, but it's just a huge plume of fire against a black background. Pretty cool. And here is yet another majestically beautiful fall tree. It looks like another maple. Very, very old, mature tree. This has lots of different color variations in the leaves, and again, picked up by the Pro One, reproduced beautifully by the Pro One. Alrighty, that is it for now. I hope you enjoyed this last series. I'm going to be receiving a couple of pictures, I believe, from Miss Bilby of Christine Bilby Photography, and so I will tackle those this weekend. I've been having problems with my eyes the last couple of days, and I think it might be something to do with allergies, but tonight I will do my drops. Okay, I'll leave you with this 17 by 24 of one of the images done by this gentleman, and you can see how beautifully this reproduced. And again, I used it because it is a very sharp one, and the resolution was around what my camera, the 24 megapixel D3400 Nikon that I have, is nothing to brag about, but it does a very nice job. This is not mine, of course. This belongs to that gentleman, and it is beautifully sharp. Again, able to be enlarged this large and not lose any detail. I applied quite a bit of output sharpening, and again, the filter in Q Image, the deep focus sharpening filter, does not produce any artifacts even when you over sharpen a bit too much. Since this is matte paper, you're supposed to always sharpen a little bit more than you would for, say, a luster print or a glossy print. In fact, you should make it look so that it actually appears a little bit crunchy on your screen. It will not be the case on paper, I assure you. Again, this is beautiful. Just enough detail on the bark of the shadow side of these trees. Obviously, the sun is over there shining through the leaves. And that's typically the best way to shoot some nice fall foliage such as this. This would make a beautifully framed print for anybody. So maybe I will frame this bad boy and put it somewhere in my basement and enjoy looking at it. Okay, I will leave you with this bit of news. There's going to be some improvements on the Pro 1 ink set, believe it or not. As good as it is already, he's already working on an improved couple of colors just to tweak it a little bit better. Always trying to not just be good enough, but be the best that there is. Hopefully the shipping problem overseas, international countries, will be solved soon. I will keep you all informed, of course, on all of these developments. There's also a big development, and he was supposed to call me tonight, and as of yet, he has not called me. It's almost 9 o'clock now. So maybe tomorrow, Saturday, I will give him a ring, and we will discuss this development, and then I will get back to you guys if it's something that I could actually divulge. All right. I hope that wasn't too much of a tease. Maybe it'll pan out, whatever this is. He hasn't told me what it is yet. So I will just leave you for the evening. I got to go upstairs, maybe get a little drink of something warm for my throat. I really have a very scratchy throat. I'm also going to be going to the doctor. My hand, I don't know if you have seen me do this a lot when I'm presenting. My thumb, all of this area here, it keeps dislocating, literally. Very painful. And I mean, I can barely straighten my thumb. So that affects my dexterity with the things that I want to do. But I got an appointment for the 25th. I hope I can last. And we'll see what they can do about this. All right. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Check my See More area on the video description, please. There's information there all the time. All right. Thank you once again. Happy printing, everybody, and bye-bye.